Okay, let's go ahead and get started today. We are excited to join together again for this month's Wellness Wednesday. Today, our topic is food power, and I'm really excited about this topic. Um, Want to first welcome everyone on the line and our presenter, Kelly. Kelly is one of the coaches here at Orient. My name is Anne. I am also a coach here at Orient, and I'm going to be the webinar moderator today. Before we get started, just a little bit of housekeeping we always do. First is to tell you that the points that you'll be receiving for participating in this webinar today will be on your account a little bit later today, an hour or so after the webinar, so you can watch for that. And also, anyone who has questions or comments about the webinar today, go ahead and there's a chat feature down below. So you can enter a chat with everyone or a questions panel here. I see some of you accessing the questions panel. I believe everyone has sound. If for some reason you can't hear me, or maybe someone say, yes, you can hear me. That would make me feel really good about the sound today. Kelly, are you on the line with us?
I am. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, so that's good.
Awesome.
Yes. Kelly, tell us a little bit about yourself and about this topic and why you are the perfect person to be teaching this today, because you're legit. I'm excited to have you here.
Thank you. That makes my day. Yeah, so like Ann said, I'm a coach there at Oriant, and my background, I grew up in a medical home, a medical household. My dad was an OB, and he was a medical doctor. And I gotta say, he really set me on my journey back when I was a teenager. And he came home one day and said, "Man, I'm coming home today from a long day of work, seeing patients, and I just feel like I'm not getting anyone well. This is why I became a doctor, because I'm not feeling like I'm healing anyone or getting anyone true wellness. Um, I'm kind of just handing out pills. I'm masking symptoms. So that was really a turning point for me in my life, to change my diet and kind of look into what the root cause of things are. Um, Changing from the SAD diet, like we like to say, the standard American diet, the SAD diet, and cutting out a lot of junk in the process. So I was so fortunate to this sounds funny, but I was fortunate enough to have a bunch of problems health-wise. So I can witness the magic of and the power of food to heal myself. So healing, acne, stomach ulcers, tendonitis, etc., energy levels, my eyesight got clearer, and I haven't been sick in over 10 years. So I'm really passionate about this subject. And even in my background of getting degrees in exercise science, herbal medicine, holistic nutrition, yeah, I've witnessed all sorts of amazing miracle-like things from these very simple truths that I hope to share with you today.
That's awesome, Kelly. We're excited to have you. And so fun that you've been through some trial and error and some good coaching, probably by your dad in your own research and education. So go ahead and get us started. Tell us a little bit about where you want to take us on this presentation.
Okay, yeah, well, it's always fun to kind of outline what's going on around us, and I'm much more of a solution-based person. I like to focus on the solution, but yeah, the problem really is clear, right? So it's estimated that 3/4 of the American population, which is 75% of the population, will be overweight or obese by 2020. And I'm sure many of you have seen things like this showing, it's really becoming an issue. Even adults age 20 and older, 17% of children and adolescents 2 to 19 years old were obese, and that was back in 2014 from these studies. Um, not only the obesity, but the Mayo Clinic journal shows that even 7 out of 10 Americans take at least one prescription drug. So 70% of everyone here in this country taking at least one prescription drug. And I would be even so bold to say here that most people I talk to in their coaching calls, they tell me they're healthy and everything's fine and dandy, but later we'll uncover that yes, they do take multiple prescription drugs for um, 1, 2, 3, 4 different issues. So what I'm presenting here to you is that taking prescription drugs is not a measure of health. We're wanting to really look at the bottom line here. What's creating this? And instead of just masking symptoms, like think about it, a headache is not from an aspirin deficiency, right? A headache's not from an aspirin deficiency. It's about healing the root cause of these symptoms and not just, staying on prescription drugs to keep on them for the rest of your life, because there is another way. And we spend over $3 trillion, trillion with a T, a year on healthcare, and that's 5 times more than our defense budget. But we're sicker than ever, more chronic conditions than ever before. Stroke is going up, heart disease going up, obesity, hypertension, diabetes, despite the billions, trillions that we're spending in healthcare each year. These conditions are all going up. And in fact, 75% of all healthcare costs go toward lifestyle and diet-related conditions. So this is an extremely important topic as it's life-altering subject. So the solution. The ancient father of Western medicine. Let's talk about him. His name is Hippocrates. He said, "Let thy food be thy medicine, and let thy medicine be thy food." He was the guy that originated the Hippocratic Oath. So that's the oath that all doctors take in medical school before they go into practice. And that oath is prevention is preferable to cure. So we'd rather prevent before we have to go down the road and fix you up and put you in an ambulance. So Hippocrates was that same guy. And this quote I love so much because it really changes the paradigm of what's possible for you. Thomas Edison is, well, the doctor of the future will no longer treat the human frame with drugs, but rather will cure and prevent disease with nutrition. Super powerful. So, and I wanted to put this into the Oxford Dictionary defines food as any nutritious substance that people or animals eat or drink, or that plants absorb in order to maintain life and growth. So the question is, are you actually eating food? Are you eating nutritious substance in order to maintain life and growth? From this definition, most people aren't eating food. They're actually starving to death, so starving from malnutrition. A growing number of research shows that eliminating or greatly reducing refined food, processed food, animal-based products, we can prevent and even reverse several of our worst diseases with a whole foods, plant-based diet. And I was going to put a bunch of studies in here from physicians like Dr. Esselstyn and Dr. Hyman, Dr. Cousins, showing this amazing clinical evidence of how plant-based food is actually healing heart disease and other chronic conditions. But we decided that you might zone out and get bored on me. So if you are interested in more of the clinical background of plant-based food and whole foods, how that's healing disease, feel free to reach out to us and we can get you those. I mean, if you are, sick and tired of being sick and tired, I would suggest to add more plant-based foods to your life, or even eat a primarily plant-based diet, as your body is is really designed to heal on a cellular level given this environment. Some people say it's extreme to eat primarily whole foods. Um, and just keep in mind there are 500,000 people this year going to get the front of their body cut open, their heart exposed. They'll take the veins from their leg and attach it to their heart, sew themselves back up again. Some people would say that that is extreme. So, yeah, so this slide right here, most people eat these 10 foods 80% of the time. I mean, most of the time, people are eating some version of these 10 foods. So we see, meat from cow, dairy from cow, soybean, corn and corn products, huge. Our country is a huge producer of these soybean and corn. Meat from chicken, potatoes, refined white sugar, or sucrose, corn syrup, fructose, all those kind of sugars. Wheat, and a lot of times, and I'll put in here too, soybean and corn and wheat are generally genetically modified, what's being grown in our country mostly. Coffee and rice. And so if you think about it, go to Olive Garden, go to Arby's, go to McDonald's, go to any, chain of restaurants, and you're getting these foods just like mixed up in different ways. So, that we want to kind of enter in this beautiful, colorful, radiant food from Mother Earth that is abundant to us. Like this slide says, so much possibility. So, we've got hundreds of vegetables, fruits, beans and legumes, nuts and seeds, herbs and spices, grains, and all kinds of possibilities. So, if you're open to some new tastes, some new flavors, getting off the standard, 10 foods that most people eat, then you're in for a treat.
Kelly, can I jump in real quick here?
Yes, please do. I'm
So,
just talking away.
no, I love it. I love it. But the things you've been talking about so far, particularly the last slide with 80% of the time we eat mostly those 10 foods. Um, just that slide compared to this, as far as the color and the excitement is so
Yeah,
different, right, between the two. As I was looking at that slide, I was just thinking that's all very, very much uniform versus the variety that we get from a lot of fruits and vegetables. I think sometimes we walk into the produce section and we're like, I don't know what that is. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Or don't really, sometimes, like we talked when we were talking about this prior, um, celery and carrots. I mean, there's other foods out there that a lot of us probably haven't even explored and don't really know what to do with them. So,
Absolutely. And there's so many resources on exactly what to do out there. And I would say, how I started was really with this attitude of curiosity. Because you have within you, right, all of you listening, this potential to expand your horizons, to be creative, to learn what you like, to have fun with this, to explore with this. And it makes this kind of switch from the sad diet to this possibility of what Earth has to offer so much more fun. It's just not boring like we may think. So yeah, I love that you brought that up.
yeah, it's exciting. I think you're motivating us to branch out of our comfort zones just a little bit. So,
Good, good. So let's talk about some villains, because if I had, any something that you took away from this today, I think that I'm going to go over 4 harmful things that are in your food that you can check, immediately. As soon as you're on this call, you can kind of look around at the food packages around you and start making the change. So over 70% of the U.S. diet is processed foods. Of course, this is to increase shelf life and allow the supermarkets and the manufacturers to maximize their profits and save on shipping costs. So the first one I want to go over is food dyes. So there are over 5,000 different food additives that are allowed to go into our food right now. Um, the food dyes are, synthesized originally from coal tar and now petroleum, so delicious. And they've long been controversial. Um, Many dyes have been banned because of their adverse effects on lab animals. And this report, the Center for Science and the Public Interest came out with this report that really clearly defined the most harmful ones that showed to, invariably cause tumors and cancer growth in their studies. And these are very rampant in our food production in our food today. Like in the grocery store, you'll find hundreds of foods with these in them. So you'll see this rainbow on the right. It's blue 1, and these are actual, like, if you turn the package over and you look at the ingredients, so it's under the nutrition facts. Generally, it says ingredients, and if you find blue 1, blue 2, green 3, red 3, red 40, yellow 5, yellow 6, these are in the ingredients list, not something you would want as an ingredient in your food. And yeah, actually, these are banned in other countries. So actually illegal, like in Norway, Austria, other countries in the European Union, they've banned the sale of foods containing these harmful dyes. So it's really up to you as a consumer to be aware of what's in your food and just buy food that just choose differently. Just it's like the rainbow. Anne was saying that it's such a colorful rainbow, beautiful food, but this is how they're trying to get the processed food to look like nature, right? They have to put food dyes in them. So that's the first thing I would say to start looking out for. The next one, MSG. So the ingredient you'll just see is MSG, or it'll say monosodium glutamate. This is a flavor enhancer. It's a known carcinogen, which means a cancer-causing organism. It's an endocrine disruptor, which means it's going to mess up your hormones. It's been linked to migraines, cardiac problems, kidney problems, neurological disorders. The list goes on. So yes, stay away from MSG. And there's actually, it's legal now to have a couple different names of MSG in the ingredients. So if you're interested in that, do some research online on other names of MSG. The next one, hydrogenated oil. So food companies began using hydrogenated oil to help increase the shelf life. This is a process. The hydrogenation process is when a liquid unsaturated fat is turned into a solid fat by adding hydrogen. So in this processing, a type of fat called trans fat is made. And you may have heard trans fat. I know that technically we're not legally we're not actually supposed to be selling that in the US anyway. Unfortunately, it's still in our food. Trans fat is basically it raises your LDL bad cholesterol and it lowers your good HDL cholesterol. So that's something you'll see, partially hydrogenated oil in the ingredients list. And the last one is high fructose corn syrup. This one's got a lot more, I think, attention than others, and even some packages will even say like no high fructose corn syrup, like on some granola bars or cereals and stuff like that, which is a good thing, but still look at the ingredients. This is a low-cost sweetener. So when we started producing so much corn in our country, we had a new source of a sugar that wasn't sugar. So this is added into foods from juices, sodas, hot dogs, and cereal, etc. And this is important because this actually deceives your satiation sensors in your brain. Makes your brain actually miscalculate how much you've eaten. So these receptors tell the brain you need to eat more. Um, so, the problem with weight management today is there's a little more, chemical imbalance. There's chemicals and lab-made ingredients going into our foods. So when you're eating foods that are completely artificial, you wind up with a problem that people just have to overeat just to be satisfied. So this is, if you're trying to lose weight and you're eating a lot of corn syrup, and you're just looking at the nutrition facts and it's, low amount of sugar compared to other things you're eating, might be a good thing to watch out for, so you can actually start to be full naturally.
Hey, Kelly,
Yeah.
we have a question from someone asking, they're vegan. They've eaten vegan for 4 years, but is still finding sugar to be fairly high in their diet, carbohydrates and sugar while eating vegan. Do you have any advice to maybe reduce that and increase some of the more quality whole foods?
That's an awesome question. And I think this is just right exactly what you're asking. Because you can, like, as you know, if you've been vegan for a few years, you can still eat, packaged food. You can eat processed food, or, yeah, like a high number of carbohydrates. So, getting those greens in that we're going to kind of be going over, the whole foods, looking over lists of what's all available to you whole food wise, and starting to add in more of that and less of the packaged food. And I know I would have been vegan for a while as well, and so I totally get this question. It's easy, it's easy, when I was vegetarian, it's easy to eat a lot of bread and stuff like that too. So I think that's a perfect question, and you're here for the right reason. You're in the right place.
Yeah, that's great. I find talking to people as a coach, some people who are vegan or even vegetarian, um, still are lacking some good nutrition in their diet because you really do have to eat whole natural foods if you're choosing that way of eating because um, you can, I guess, cheat, so to speak, to where you're still following the vegan plan, but still not eating healthy.
Yeah,
So thanks for
so
answering
true.
that.
Yeah. So let's go into a couple of ways to, look at the nutrition heroes in your life. So we talked about plant-based, and, there's of course, like the subjects of dairy and meat and things we haven't gone over really, but, this is majorly where people are lacking, is the plant-based foods. That's why I wanted to focus on it. So does it grow? That's the question, the magic question you can even teach your kids, does it grow from the earth? And this is, fruits, vegetables, nuts, whole grains, legumes, seeds. And you might say, like, this is not what my fridge looks like, okay? Like, it's not just gonna be whole foods. Like, what about, condiments or sauces or stuff like that? It's a little more tricky because you're looking at the ingredients list. So this is where I want to take you to this example here of the two different ingredients here. This is 2 bottles of ketchup, and you can see the nutrition facts, and then where we want to really focus on is the ingredients underneath. So you see tomato concentrate, we see distilled vinegar, we see high fructose corn syrup, we see another ingredient of corn syrup, salt, spice, onion powder, natural flavoring. So this is the typical ketchup on the left, and then on the right, we're looking at these ingredients here. Tomato paste, distilled white vinegar, water, cane sugar, sea salt, onion, allspice, and clove. So as there's still a little bit of sugar still in there, you can see that it's a step in the right direction, right? You're getting off the corn syrup and the high fructose, right? So these are I just wanted to give you a little example of how you can kind of change it up and purchase a different, it's kind of like as simple as you're reaching your arm out and getting this versus that, right? So,
Kelly,
um,
we were talking when we were talking about this presentation. I think so
mhm,
many of us are getting good at looking at nutrition facts, seeing how
yeah,
many calories, seeing how much sugar or protein. I don't know how many of us read the ingredient list because often it's stuff we don't know what it is anyway. So I think I love
exactly.
this tip, this basic tip of reading the ingredient list. When you're checking out those nutrition facts, keep reading, see if you can pronounce or know what's in
Exactly.
that.
Totally. And I picked one that was not that bad, right? There's the same amount of ingredients and everything. You can actually pronounce everything. But I would, yeah, challenge you guys to start looking at the ingredients. If you can't pronounce it, like Anne said, probably not a great thing, you know. So, so yeah, let's go into the tips. So the we wanted to give you a couple of takeaways so you can implement this. Um, the shop the perimeter of the store. So if you notice, the unprocessed foods are most likely around the outside. If you start going through the aisles, that's where most of the processed food are. Um, let's see. So half your plate rule. I love this rule. And there's actually a science. We don't have time to go through it right now, but yeah, when you add half of your plate as plant-based foods, whole foods, then you can at least start with that and know, hey, I'm getting in some good nutrition today. Half my plate is whole food. And then, yeah, I would also say right here, add. There's only a amount of food you can even eat in the day. So the more you add it in, you won't feel like you're being deprived and then it's hard and start having all that negative energy around it because sometimes changing your food up is an emotional thing. So add them in and have fun with it. As far as, let's see, get educated. Yes, this is a huge one, and the find inspiration. Um, if you could take away this from today to continue your education and really upping your level of interest in your own personal health, like what you're consuming, the documentaries Forks Over Knives, Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, and Food Matters are three documentaries I think are must-sees for everyone living in this country. So those are all available on Netflix, I believe. And then finding inspiration, they say in the financial world, they say your income it will be the equivalent of your five best friends. So this is the same with food, the five people you eat around the most. This is going to be what you eat like as well. So when you surround yourself, metaphorically, you can surround yourself with people on Instagram like Food Matters. Um, Thriving on Plants is a good Instagram that I follow. These people that are really making it delicious and fun and vibrant and colorful, like we talked about, makes it so much easier. So you can get some support that way. All right, and I think the next one, this is healthy on eating on the go. So, for example, I want to, this kind of goes on with our ingredient list lesson. If you look at a Nutri-Grain Harvest bar, there's all kinds of craziness in the ingredients list of that. And it looks really healthy, right? On the package, it's real food and protein and all this stuff. Um, Ingredients list show there's all kinds of detrimental things in there. So switching things like that with like a Lara bar, for example, um, I believe this one is like three ingredients. It's like almonds and dates and cherries. So very simple, all grown from the earth. And for, on the go, people, Anne and I both decided we got to put this in because so many people are time strapped in our world today. And it's like, I can't make, these foods at home. So they, salad in a jar, that's always a great thing. I always put a bunch of veggies in there and like cashews, brown rice, and just, it's delicious, awesome. Smoothies, green smoothies. two frozen bananas, a bunch of spinach, a little bit of cashews. Bam, super simple green smoothie you can take with you. Superfood mixes, fresh fruit, fresh veggies. I love red bell pepper with like a little salt on it, or carrots with nut butter, stuff like that. Yeah, and there's a bunch of treats in any store nowadays that you can get. Let's see, and then make it yourself. So, for example, there's this cheesecake on the bottom, delectableness. It's just made out of like raw cashews, vanilla, honey, unrefined coconut oil, lemon juice, and like topped with blueberries and strawberries. So you can tell super simple versus going to Costco, getting a cheesecake there, and there's like Anne said, 60 ingredients you can't pronounce and a bunch of dyes and stuff like that. So you can enjoy yourself. You can, open yourself up to the possibility of this kind of food and treating yourself to, a new paradigm of healing yourself with this stuff. Okay. So, Anne, did you want to add anything else? I know I've been talking away and trying to pack it all in.
No, Kelly, this has been awesome. You've given us some great information, and we've had lots of questions on the online as well throughout this, so that's been awesome. A copy of the presentation will be downloadable for everyone after this. I think there's a lot of people interested in that. Also, there's a handout that has some recipes. That cheesecake recipe will be available on a handout, also those zucchini noodles and a few other things. If there's anything you saw in here that particularly was interesting to you, like the um, the the studies and the data on how to heal your body with food. If, salad in a jar piqued your interest or anything else specific that you want more information on, please let us know because we'd love to share that with you. There was so much that we couldn't like compile a cookbook for everyone based on everything Callie has. She's got so much knowledge, but we can answer any specific questions you guys have as well. So thank you so much for joining us. And look forward for our next webinar next month. We'll be back again the second Wednesday in February. Watch for your points and go eat something. Go eat something real. Go eat something healthy today. And thanks, Callie. Everyone have a great day.
Thank you.